Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is the very first interview for the Grind Kingz. Today we interviewing mega entrepreneur Rufus man, hailing out of Augusta, Georgia.
I'll take it. I'll claim it. I'll claim it.
I'm trying to tell you, hey, that's the man right there for real.
Okay.
How long, man? How long would you say you've been an entrepreneur overall?
Ooh, Lord. Probably gonna give up my age about right now, besides this gray hair on my face. But I've been doing since '89.
'89.
Since 1989. My first concert I put together was Kilo Ali. You know, back there in that bass game, back in that day. Do you hear what I hear? That boom, all that. You know, the Atlanta thing was so hot popping back then, you know, so the bass artist was a lot more affordable back then. So since '89, I've been trying to get to the mountaintop.
Well, you done been there and touched the sky a couple of times.
But I didn't got around the edges or whatever, but I ain't got there yet. But the Lord ain't done with it yet, Lord willing.
So you gotta, you just opened up a new club too, right?
Well, it's not really a club. I have what is a rental hall. It's called Art City Event.
Yeah.
Rental hall, and we do special events, parties, birthdays, that type of thing. But of course, I was contemplating now actually about, with the surge in the pandemic right now, about possibly closing down.
Oh no!
For a couple months. Now I'm gonna have to maybe talk to my the landlord, because there hasn't been a directive put out by any official entity.
Yeah. But
for the safety of my patrons and myself, I don't think it's healthy for me to be, you know, even though I wear masks and different things like that, I don't think it's a smart business decision and a healthy business decision to stay open and maintain operations as normal during this pandemic. It's about the finances. You know, can I afford to shut down, you know, for 2 months? Can I afford to pay my lease for 2 months? Can I afford to have my employees sit on idle for 2 months and wait for me to get back on? You know, can I afford to lose my momentum on the night and the promotion and hope that I can come back and recapture that intensity in 2 to 3 months? And there's no guarantee about that, as you know, being in the entertainment business as long as you have. So that's one of the things I think not just me, but most of the people I'm sure you conduct business with are facing if they have a face-to-face type of business and contact. Thank God there's the internet where people are now able, like we are doing, making an exchange without being in face-to-face or personally in the same room. But also it allows you to market your product depending on what it is without a person having to visit your establishment. Right. So I think that's one of the things that not just me as a small venue is looking at. Your large venues like your civic centers, your Bell auditoriums, your Miller theaters, your what's the big boys that do the large tour? Lord, they do the tour, Live Nation. You know, this is from Live Nation as well. I mean, so, you know, you don't think about it, but, you know, Live Nation run 60 or 70 shows in different genres at the same time. With all the venues shut it down around the nation and no artist is moving, that stops up their cash flow too. You know what I mean? And then that stops the venue's cash flow. You know what I mean? Because who's going to come out to see, you know, a show and risk their health? And then if they say, well, we have to go by the regulations, so The artist isn't going by the regulations and charging for the amount of money they want for their performance. So at this time, you know, as I can testify for me, as a small Black business owner, it's been a challenging thing to keep my head afloat. And thank God for the blessings that I'm able to and I've maintained. But there's a lot of people that I know have closed their doors. So,
dang, all right. So you still kind of like the last Mohican with it right now.
Well, I like to think that I'm a survivor.
For sure.
You know, you know, more than that, I think there's a lot of people out here, including yourself, that are maintaining and doing great things. But it's about, you know, the old thing with the Marine Corps: adapt, improvise, overcome.
Overcome. That's right.
You know, if you don't adapt or improvise to the new surrounding or the new situation, then you become obsolete.
That's right.
So, you know, during this pandemic, it certainly has touched a lot of promoters that I know personally that do live venues and live by that. That's how they make their living, from shows, you know, all year. And that has been completely shut down for the most part since March, 2020.
And that's all they do. They ain't got no side hustle, no extra.
No, I mean, that is their hustle. And then unfortunately, with the monies that came out, the top of the 1%, you know, they got most of the $1 trillion that was allocated of this and that and whatever. And then they talk about, well, y'all want $10,000, fight on the $10,000. I might give you $8,000. They didn't took $15 million. They didn't took $20 million. When they didn't took $400,000. When they took $500,000. But the small businesses that are out here that needs the money, when they're sitting on assets of $20, $30 million, $40 million, and you know, and these types of things. So I think it's a great thing with the Grind King things that we acknowledge, like the hustle that all of the brothers out here are doing and sisters that are out here doing to maintain, to do exactly that: improvise, adapt, and overcome. Because some people was in the lane of contactless way of making money, but most of us was in the business of making contact to make our money, whether that was delivery, driving trucks, me doing a nightclub, me doing a concert, or taxes, in which I have tax service as well. And that's the uncertainty this year, you know, with the pandemic. You know, how severely would that affect my business on the tax service side? So we're going to Zoom appointments and things like that. Adapt
with the taxes.
Adapt, improvise, overcome.
Yeah, so, hey, salute on that one, for real.
I mean, because I mean, you know, if you have a lot of clients that have ailments that are high risk, right? If I can do something through electronic transfer of information and secured sources, there's no need for me to bring you in my office when I can sit here and talk to you like this and go through your information and process. Now, it may take a little longer because it's not the face-to-face thing or whatever. However, it's a safer practice for that individual that is in high risk but needs to file their taxes because they're in high risk and need money to maintain or do whatever they need to do in their ordinary life. So
check this out. I'm glad you mentioned that. So, like, say for instance, like you lease out a space and everything when you get ready to do your taxes, which is seasonal, you know. But I understand the club business. People have to be in that space. You know, you're not gonna put together a Zoom club, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Have a DJ on Zoom. You know what I'm saying? But with your tax business, you can actually afford to do Zoom meetings, like you said. I think that's brilliant, personally.
It is, but see, this is the conundrum. It makes it better for those who are tech savvy.
Got you.
Everybody's not tech savvy.
Right.
Everybody does not have Wi-Fi. Everybody does not have a laptop.
Right.
You know what I mean? I send them a link. I send links to my cousins to do family day games and stuff, and they calling and on there and can't get it. How you push the mute button? How you know what I mean? So it's, you know, we don't look at it like that because it's a part of what we do and what we're exposed to.
Right.
You got me?
Yeah.
But for now, granted, a lot of people have now been indoctrinated into this way of communication.
That's right. Yeah.
So
whether they like it or not.
The only thing is when you run into those people that have those barriers, and then you have to still make it accessible for them as you would do a wheelchair person, you know, that can't enter a building. Wow. So with that saying, we're doing the proper health safety precautions as mandated by the CDC and the health department in terms of every desk we have shields on there, require every person to come in and take have a mask on. We're gonna take temperatures, write in a login time and what time people come. So if there is an incident, we can go back and pull that data and who the person was and contact people and have a way of tracing to figure it out. But we're going to do everything we know that is based on the guidelines of the distancing, fresh air, sanitizing the area after one client leaves and before the next client sits down, and those precautionary things. But, you know.
How long you been doing taxes altogether?
This is my 6th year, I think, 6th or 7th year.
Nice.
Of doing taxes.
Yeah.
So,
I know you said at one point in time you were like putting the signs out and the city was fining you and taking you to court and all
that
that
was
stuff.
episode of Welcome to the Magistrate Court. So I think that's probably a good segue into white privilege. You know, I know we're joking, but I think it's a good segue to talk about white privilege.
Okay.
Because I didn't get treated as a businessman. I got treated as a black minority that was going through criminal court. Yet I was not a criminal.
Right.
I had, you know, Augusta had put out a mandate about the tax signs being out with all the tax companies, and they could consider it littering and this and that, but they do the same thing for the politics.
Yeah.
Signs are everywhere. They don't pick them up.
That's right.
That's not a business. They're not paying taxes. I'm a paying tax business, and you're saying I can't do as I don't do as I do, but do as I say. You know, that's kind of backwards. So anyway, put out signs. Marshall came into my office first of all, and I was with the client, and she's a little rude. I'm a white Marshall lady, and she was like, "Excuse me, sir." I was like, "Excuse me, ma'am, I'll be with you a moment," with the client. So like, "Well, sir, who are you?" Da da da. I told her who I was, and she says, "Well, I'm about to give you a ticket. Are these your signs over here? I'm about to give you." I say, "You're gonna give me a ticket personally, for the business?" How do you know? I don't put the signs out. I have a promotional company, a team that puts the sign out, and you're giving me a ticket as you see me do it. First of all, but I didn't argue with her. I had a client there or whatever, because in the letter Augusta sent out, they said the first one would be a warning, right? So I was like, okay, this is going to be my warning thing. And from that, it would be a $250 fine into a $500 into a $1,015, and then possibly after that, lose your license to operate in the city. Okay.
Wow.
So there were several steps to go. So anyway, so the marshal came in, she asked me, she said, "Well, where's your business license?" I had to pull it out because I had just finished painting my office, so it wasn't posted up on the wall, but it was laying right there beside me. I literally just reached over and showed it to her.
Yeah.
She's like, well, it needs to be posted. It's like, next time I come, it needs to be. Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Massive. No problem, massive. So, okay, so she gives me the ticket. So I look at the ticket and it says non-compliance. And at the time, I wasn't understanding what non-compliance means. I thought she was talking about just putting out the tax signs, right? So I'm like, all right, I'll go to court, no big deal or whatever. So I go down to court, and the first thing she comes in and say, well, Mr. Van's non-compliance, his license was not in proper order, it was expired, and he had been putting out signs and this and other. And I was like, excuse me, I'm trying, you know, being black and speaking in the courtroom might get you thrown in jail.
In the
right? So, but it's hard for me to sit there when somebody's lying on me and I can't say nothing, right? So anyway, so she goes there and I say, excuse me, sir. She's not telling the truth. I had a copy of my current license and the renewed license by the time I went to court, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, excuse me. I was like, yes, sir, I'm trying to show, we're about to do this, and I forget the exact words, but do you have something else to say? The way he said, I was like, hell no, I ain't got nothing else to say. I ain't trying to go to jail over no tax signs.
Right? You're trying to hit me no way.
Right. So I'm thinking it's going to be a tap on the hand at the end of the day or whatever.
Yeah.
So he said $500 and 4 months on probation. Probation for putting out tax signs? And you act like I'm a criminal. This is a city code. First offense. All right, so again, I'm trying to talk to, but they ain't hearing me. So thank God, God works in mysterious ways. You know what I mean? He blessed me. So at the time, there was a couple people from the business license office in there. And as I was leaving out of the courtroom, and very upset, of course, as you can imagine, paying $500 and you put me on probation like I'm a criminal. Right. So anyway, so as we walking, they call me and say, excuse me, sir, can we see your paperwork? They hear me in the courtroom trying to show the judge I have both of my licenses. They were never out. He ain't want to hear none of that shit. You black, you ain't got a lawyer, shut up. Basic.
Yeah, basically.
So they like, man, your stuff wasn't out of compliance and your license wasn't even due the time she gave you the ticket. She gave you the ticket on 12/21. The new license don't start until after January when you were able to get your new license because certain business gets them at a certain time.
Right.
Got it. Said, give us a copy of this. We're going to go get it. So they got it supposedly dropped. They called me. We got it dropped from the marshal's department. This is another da-da-da-da-da. Okay, great. Thank you. Appreciate it. But she said, but what I want you to do, Rufus, in order for me to drop it, I need you to go pick up all your signs.
Oh, man. You don't even know where all the signs at.
I went and hit whatever signs I could because I ain't about to be on nobody's probation.
That's for sure.
Right?
No doubt.
So I go do the sign, send a picture of her picking up sign. Okay, thank you. Talk to the judge. So I'm thinking it's over, right? Mm-hmm. Remember that word, 4 months probation?
Right.
Remember that.
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks later, I get a call. I speak to Rufus Van. It's like, this is him. This is Augusta probation office, and we're calling to see why you didn't show up for your appointment. Whoa. Y'all about to put a warrant out of me and all this shit on something I ain't even supposed to be there because it got dropped. Right. Immediately, I have to call the marshal's department and turn calls down to the judge office, which calls down to the city clerk, which calls over there and says, well, it's taking bullshit. Excuse my French. I pulled it up down there. I said, can I get a copy of that order dismissing this? And it needs to be a valid copy. It's in my wallet to this day.
Yeah.
Just in case any glitch in anybody's computer talking about you got a probation. What?
Right.
And I say that jokingly, but it happens to so many of us and don't get the call.
That's right.
And all of a sudden, you like, you have a warrant. A warrant for what? You didn't show up. Man, that shit was rock. What are you talking about? But the left hand didn't tell the right hand.
Exactly. And a lot of their computer systems don't even communicate with one another, and that's horrible, you know.
And it really is. And but see, I mentioned that the position. If I had been a white business person, coming from Jackson and Hewitt, coming from Liberty, just Caucasian, I would have not gone through what the demeaning experience and lies that I went through. Now, the marshal straight up lied. Do you think there was a reprimand for her? No. Do you think they made her come back to apologize? No.
No, they ain't gonna apologize.
All right, go on, nigga. You got away. Go on about your business.
Right. Yeah.
Right? So.
Don't let it happen again.
Don't worry about that.
Right.
Tonight, I went to Louisville, Rennes.
Okay.
And I'm going outside Augusta market. I ain't putting out one side in Augusta. And there's other tax companies that putting it out. And they're black. But I have this thing about, I'm not gonna give you an opportunity to have fuel to do me how you wanna treat me.
Right.
And if I went out and did that, that's exactly what I would be doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Knowing that,
go right. So I'm gonna accept that and just go with other mediums, radio, and you know, and social media marketing and those things, and hopefully word of mouth and referrals and those types of things. But getting back to the white privilege. So today, I'm sure you're aware, and hopefully most people who are watching this, they stormed the state senate, Capitol building, DC, right?
I didn't even I didn't even hear about it. This is my first time hearing about it.
Oh my God,
bro! About the demonstration.
The demonstration. They went in the straight to the Capitol in the chambers. They locked the thing down. Oh. They put people up. A lady got shot and killed inside the Capitol.
Bro, I didn't even hear.
Demonstrators on the outside, bro, going up and pulling the flag off and trying to put a Trump flag up there. There's like thousands of people, like literally, you can see one police backing up to a position where he had more police, that there was so many people. But this is my point. They had thousands of people out there doing that, tearing up property, tearing up the Capitol, going in there, threatening these people's lives who are congressional people, right, who have Secret Service on them. And I bet you there wasn't one, but 2, 3 arrests. There was one person shot, but flashback to Charlotte. Peaceful demonstration, right? All of a sudden, a white guy drives through there and kills how many people? What happens to him? Tap on the wrist or whatever. What the president says? Oh, there was good and bad people on both sides. Was the bad people the one that got ran over?
Yeah, I see.
Or was the good person the one driving the vehicle?
Right.
Right? So white privilege is a true thing. You know, and we can say, oh, you know, you're just making excuses. No. To be naive and not know what you're against and what exists around you would be stupid.
Right.
And ignorant.
Stay alert, stay alive.
Just stay alert, stay alive. Aware of your surroundings, aware of your disposition, aware. Right? So, as you know, and I think that's probably one of the reasons you want to talk to me, I started this thing, JuzTuz. Right?
That's right.
So JuzTuz was put on my spirit back in 2012. I was at home sick, and it's just to 2020 that I have like pushed the pedal on responding to it. So let me give you a little breakdown of what JuzTuz is. JuzTuz is an organization that I'm developing to address the social and mistreatment of minorities in all different ways. The initial documentary I'm working with is in the criminal justice system. The disproportionate sentencing of Black Americans to white Americans for the exact same crime.
Yeah.
White privilege, right? So you have all these people who stormed the Capitol by the thousands, took over the Capitol. President refused to send in the National Guard because remember, Washington, D.C. is a what? It's a district of Columbia.
It's a district, yeah. It ain't even
not a state. They don't have their own National Guard.
No.
They have to call on the president to get assistance, but this is something he created. So he was sitting back like, what you talking about? What you talking about? In the meantime, after we go check, it's just chaotic, man. It was literally brought a coup in America to the form of if it was able to be taken over by violence in that building, it would have been taken over with little resistance.
Yeah.
And everybody's talking about, well, where were the people? Where were the guards? And they knew this was going on. They knew this rally was happening. But the people in play worked for the president. They didn't schedule nobody to be there. They didn't have National Guards on alert. They didn't do none of those things to combat what they knew was coming, right? Now, put that same context in the people that were rioting over the George Floyd murder, right?
Okay.
Now, there was no congressional people in danger.
Right.
Property. After they did, most of the people they arrested, including the ones they arrested in D.C., most of them weren't from D.C. They wasn't even D.C. citizens.
Right, and usually it's the troublemakers that's from out of town.
They import them in, bro. They create.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
So during that point, they used tear gas, rubber bullets, National Guard, and they put their butts in the jail by the buttloads if they could catch them.
Yeah.
There wasn't no, please go home, go back, woo, stay back, woo.
Yeah.
Right? So, one demonstration started out, was peaceful all the way until the intrigators got in there and did certain things to draw attention, but it wasn't the people that was marching.
That's right.
This was thousands of people going deliberately to disturb and break up the House Representative and the Senate floor and destroy the structure, breaking windows, doing the whole nine.
Yeah.
Wasn't no tear gas dropped. Wasn't no rubber bullets popped off. And it's sad to say that I heard that there's one lady that got killed, but one lady. How many blacks would have been massacred in that building on this side of justice, on civil law, they were hoodlums, that they were on this, because when it comes to us, the description becomes dark.
Yeah.
When it's white, it's justified, it's protesting, it's civil, whatever bull they want to utilize. So,
A way of expression.
So the JuzTuz is our game is to bring attention, not by numbers, but by stories that you can relate to and personal people can relate to, and fold them by the hundreds, by the thousands, by whatever we can.
Right.
To now we got 2 Georgias a senator, right? Hey, Reverend Warford, John also, y'all talking all this, what we gonna do about these courts? They sending black men with armed robbery away for 20 years. The white man for armed robbery get 3 to 5 out in 5. He had a gun too. Same judge that sentenced my son. So I kind of got in this, what can I say? I guess in this space, you know, I've always been an avid for at-risk youth. I used to work with a program called Youth Challenge Academy for almost 10 years, working with at-risk youth, helping them get on the right page, get their GED, discipline and structure to go out in the community and become productive parts of society. Mm-hmm. It was a quasi-military program located out at Fort Gordon here in Augusta. So I've always been an advocate of trying to help young people, young black men especially. So anyway, this one particular incident situation, I allowed this kid to invade my family space, to be around my family. And it was one of the worst decisions I could probably made in my life. So with him being around, I can't say he was influenced. My son maybe was influenced, trying to hang with the group or whatever.
Yeah.
And they committed a robbery. My son never got out of the vehicle, according to the young man that testified in one of the trials. They said if they knew, they'd have told him, he wouldn't have driven him over there. So my son was guilty of knowing that they was going to break in a person's home, but no idea of that they had a weapon or intent to use the weapon.
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, guy gets killed. My son is 16 at the time. So goes to, go through this whole thing, and this is new for me. I've never had to deal with the criminal justice system or tell my son like, yo, do this, do that, do that. I asked basically, you have anything to do with it? He said no, and I kind of trust him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in hindsight, I should have told him not to say anything. But ignorance is not an excuse with the law, right?
That's what they say.
So anyway, so he winds up. There was this detective was saying he was going to speak on my son's behalf, was going to help him get out on bond, and all these different things. And I knew the reason I knew he wasn't just lying to me, he also told it to the attorney that was representing. Okay. And because he saw that my son was taking advantage of, or not so much of as advantage of, but was influenced highly by this individual that would not have been thinking of being involved with anything like that, because he's never been in trouble, had a pretty good life, I took care of me well. So anyway, so go to the bond hearing, but the cop I mentioned, one thing changed. He wants to run for sheriff to replace the current sheriff.
Mm.
So he tells my attorney that he changes his mind. He's not going to do it. Speak on my son's behalf. And I asked him, I said, well, why? He said, because your son's involved. I said, what changed about my son's involvement? He said, nothing. Just said he changed his mind because my son's involvement. And I asked what my son's involvement changed. He said, nothing. The only thing changed is that the guy wanted to run for sheriff.
Right.
And wanted to get the support of the current sheriff.
Associated or attached to it.
Didn't want to be associated with a murder and being solved on crime and this and other.
Right.
So, son became the sacrificial lamb.
Mm.
Not saying that a man lost his life. Let me back up. A man lost his life. Whether my son, he didn't pull the trigger, and the individuals who should be accountable.
Yeah.
And let me say that they should be accountable for the individuals who did take the man's life. But back to white privilege, they have a tendency of when it's black we include everybody in the charge. When it's white, we include only the person who perpetrated the crime. And then they're not going to get the same charge.
And it's a lighter
at the same time, right? So I'll give you a scenario. There was a case, and you might correct me, I'm not sure if it was in Mississippi, somebody said it was Alabama or something, but there was a black man that was tied to the back of a pickup truck, driven by three or four white teens, and driven and killed.
Yeah.
They only charged the driver.
Yeah, I remember that.
Now, there was 3 or 4 kids in there, but you only charged the driver. See, because they look at the facts and the actual participation of the crime when it's on the white side. When it's on the black, they just throw us in as some other niggas. Excuse my French. But I mean, that's just being blunt. It is what it is.
I mean, we keep it real.
If you don't see that, just look at the politics. Everything was fine about the election when they won the governorship. They said there was nothing wrong with the voting machines. When Stacey was talking, but she wasn't saying there was something wrong with the machines. She was talking about the tactics and disqualifying votes based on signatures and other tactics that they used to throw votes out.
Yeah.
Right? Fast forward, you got a president that calls the Secretary of State of Georgia and basically tries to pressure him to find him 11,000 votes. He ain't going to jail. They ain't going to do nothing to it. It's just going to be another episode of some crazy shit Trump did.
Yeah.
The same man also incited a riot at the Capitol. One lady is dead from it. So we have to create stuff, a consciousness, a news of awareness for us. It's not going to be expressed through mainstream. It's not going to be told through mainstream media. It's not going to be advocated through mainstream media because they don't care. It's the story of the moment. It only becomes...
It makes a profit then they'll get involved. But,
if it becomes national news like George Floyd or Breonna Taylor.
Right.
But if it's Christopher Stansfield down in Augusta, Georgia,
right,
on some humbug, well, it didn't make the news cycle, so, oh well, on Christopher. You know, and then when you get the description from the local news, oh, they're going to make you sound like, boy, you from the terror from the 7 Seas. Yeah. Oh, back when he was in such and such in 16 years, he got arrested for stealing a candy bar out of Circle K and da-da-da-da. He has tendencies of being it. You know, so JuzTuz, going back to that again, is trying to bring awareness on the injustice sentencing, the injustice number of years of incarceration for minorities or brown people for doing the exact same crime that their counterpart or their white person does.
So let me ask you this: where do we start with that? Where's ground zero for that? You know, and I know, of course, you've already started bringing about the awareness, but how do you expand from that?
That's that. They say that's the $1 million question.
Right.
So I'm going up to the premise that you plant a seed, you nourish the seed, grow. Okay. That's my only encouragement. Because one thing I found out when I first created this brand JuzTuz several years ago, and I reached out to several different organizations, I won't say national, but the local people that represent a few of the organizations. Hey, I got this JuzTuz thing, and hey, I want to create this shirt and this product and create this brand of JuzTuz. And even if your company markets it, I'll give you a percentage of this the shirt sales or whatever, because it's about building the brand and a unified brand that we can stand up, right?
Right.
Oh no, we got our own church. Oh, I understand that. You're in NAACP. How many people know what your slogan is?
Right.
You're in the minority business. How many people know what your slogan is?
Right. What your brand is.
What is because there's no unified, everybody's in their own corner. I got Operation this, I got Operation this. Well, what about Operation Joint Unified?
Yeah. That's a very serious issue nationwide, especially amongst Black people.
And you experience it yourself with the nonprofit side of things.
Yes, sir.
So, it's the, what do you call it? The crabs in the bucket.
Yeah, all the time. All the time.
Once you see one get up, you pull them down. Instead of we pick each other up, we can all get up like this piece.
Ain't no escaping that. But something that is just what I've learned, through my humbling experiences, is that that's a frequency, and that's people that's operating on that particular frequency. So when you up here operating on this frequency, and like I try to explain to a lot of people, it's like a radio station. So you got your 107, point whatever, and then you might have an AM station. So say these people on the AM station, and even if they were at one point in time operating on that high frequency station, what happens as you tend to go further and further away from the main station, then it starts to get staticky and it becomes irritable. So now you lower the frequency. So now it's irritable, and so that's the frequency they operate on. Everything that's static, everything that's negative, anything that's non-influential, anything that is above that frequency, they're going to try to correct. So we can't escape that.
I would love to say, hey, I have a a co-op program or joint program with the NAACP or, the Black Atlanta Chamber or this organization or that. But, Chris, you got to just put one step in front of the other one and just see where it takes you.
Indeed.
And, it's a labor of love, and I've always been in this thing as I discussed, but I never thought I would be here with it based on my personal experience with my own child, my own son. Because I was watching a movie, and I think it was the X-Men or something like that. And they were saying, I saved all these people, and I've done all these things, and I've saved the world. I couldn't even save my own son. And that resonated, and it doesn't just resonate with me, it resonates with a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Somebody did a post, we can raise our kids anyway, in great ways, and teach them, but at the end of the day, just like we had to, they're gonna have to make personal, smart choices and understanding that you don't have the luxury to make mistakes. And my grandson is just turned 18. So he's a young Black man, and they're rebels, think, F12, and you can say all that you want under your breath. But
how the system works like that.
You gotta move accordingly. Because how is it that a white man comes at you with a knife and all this, and you a police, you running from him, you tackle him, you fighting him, you chasing. But a Black man comes to you without a weapon, and you say your life is threatened, and you pull the trigger. Not to maim, to kill. A lot of people question Dr. King's decision, right, to integrate Black and whites when it was separated through Jim Crow, right? But even though during Jim Crow, do you know that's when black people thrived? Because they stopped going to white business.
Yeah.
They start patronizing their own business.
Right. But
right?
Your own community, yeah.
Your own community. That's when you had the black Oklahoma situation, right? They burned down that in the riot. They say, oh, you niggas getting too uppity, you make it da-da-da-da-da, right? So they tear down anytime they see you building up, right? So they have bamboozled us to think that what they say, because they say it, is facts. You know, just because it came out your mouth, it's the truth, right? But we have to be wiser, and we have to educate, right? For me to know this, and for me to have this experience, and for me to be alert and not try to share it would be an injustice. For you to learn what you've learned in your life, the knowledge you've had, the things that you've had, and that you've gone through, and not try to pass those on to a worthy individual that is receptive and open to learn would be an injustice to your legacy. Right?
Yeah.
So, the people who can make a difference, right, are entertainers, but they're the problems. Step on some toes. It is what it is, because you're putting out bullshit music. You're not putting out anything. You're not putting out anything. Huh?
Athletes have just as much influence too.
I wasn't just there. I wasn't down there.
Okay.
But the athlete plays on the court. The athlete does music affects your emotion.
Right. It is very emotional. Absolutely.
There is power in words.
Yes.
So if you believe there's power in words, what words are you putting in your spirit with the music that's out there? These are our kids, right? These are our future leaders. These are the people that's going to make the dream come true. They get cut down by the legs through the policing for black communities, for the mass incarceration for small, minute crimes that can be handled in a different way. We're going to put you in a first offenders program. We're going to put you in this, da-da-da. You get off for 4 or 5 years probation. You go to school. You get your education. We're going to wipe it. No, but their resolution is send them up the road to prison. First out the gate, go to prison, because they make money on prison.
Yeah. They engineering the prisons now to make money. They got contracts for a certain percentage of people to occupy those.
And they want to keep them beds full.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a new part of slavery. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the new slavery. That ain't a new part. It is the new slavery.
Right. That's what it is. Yeah.
That is it. And they put it on the stock market. So you got private prisons on the stock market. How is that supposed to be? Supposed to be prison reform, right? But it went down. You remember when they took all the library books out of the prisons, took the weights and other things that people said, well, they don't need to be getting buffed up and all that. Man, that's a way. You got somebody. The devil, idle mind is the devil's workshop.
Yes, it is.
So at least when you're talking about a true rehabilitation, there's some things you're trying to achieve this person. You're trying to get them to go to expand their horizon, their knowledge, their skill. How are you rehabilitate by letting them sit in the damn cell all day with no training, no education, no way to get no training, education? But yeah, sit here for 10, 12 years. When you let you out, go out there and figure out how to get it. The shit is set up for them to come back.
Yeah.
You know, that's why you got brothers in different organizations out here for second offenders that's trying to help them get back on their feet, and different programs. But again, they run into the same thing you mentioned to me, the support. You know what I mean? There's not many unified collaborations, and maybe that's what we need to look at. instead of support, unified collaborations
Yeah.
that are beneficial for other parties. So meaning, if my piece is to create this, then okay, I don't do that, but Chris does this. Well, let me get with Chris, because Chris part is that, and we can combine the pieces, and we're not duplicating, or I'm not stepping on Chris' toes, because that's not really where Chris' lane is.
Right.
And Chris is not in my lane, so we both feed off each other to grow and make the vision stronger.
Right. And it's like you said, it's pretty much a unified network, you know.
And I think it has to be more than network, because network, I know people. You know what I mean? Collaboration means, no, we're doing things.
Okay.
You feel me? So because me and you both have a wealth of networks.
Right. True.
You know, I can call people, but would they do shit?
Right.
That's another question.
Yeah, they gonna tell you they'll do it, but yeah, no otherwise.
Hey, you got better ones than I do. Then let me say that I can't even get my partners to do what I need them to do on a basic thing.
Man.
So collaboration is the key, and Koreans and Asians do it so well.
Absolutely.
We do it so horrible. We do it so horrible.
Well, because we're trying to be so independent all the time, you know.
And it's the brainwashing, and it's the slave mentality, and it's the slavery and all this and all. But how long can that transcend a generation that you use this? You know why is it? Because they feeding the same bullshit and just changing it.
Yeah,
listen to music you put out.
It became a crutch for most of the people, you know, the youth especially. Right. It's like, man, we can't, you know what I'm saying? We ain't got no opportunity, you know. Well, go out here and make the opportunity.
Let me challenge you this. You're a hip hop man.
Mm-hmm.
Name me 5 artists that uplift in hip hop.
What, right now?
Yeah. That's funny as shit, ain't it? Out of all the artists in the world that rap, produce, sing, you might have more doing it in singing than anything. But not even in singing, it ain't even about love. It's just straight smashing. I do this and do this. I mean, feelings, love, feelings, all of it has become so abstract, bro.
Right. Yeah.
So you're taking emotions out of feeling. Remember back in the day, what was Pop? The statement Pop made. Why did we make the race we raise the babies that hate the ladies or something like that in one of his raps? He said that. And as long ago that was, it's true to this day. You see young cats all the time, man, them bitches this and bitches that. Man, I don't give a fuck about them. It's like, but damn, don't you care about your mama?
Right.
You know what I mean? Your sister? Are they classified as? Are you all women that are you doing based on how they go? And 90% of our young men are doing it just because they're female and they treat them a certain way. They have no respect for them, and all women are hoes, and just the derogatory idea of what a woman is, which is supposed to be your backbone, your support, your plus, you know, your rib.
Yeah.
Right? But listen to the music. Tell me one artist.
Ultimately, I think that's engineered by design as well, because if mainstream radio, if that's all that they putting out, then guess what? That's all you gonna get a hold of.
Bam.
Yeah.
And you got it. You know why?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Go to a white country artist or anybody that's doing that derogatory shit.
Something derogatory?
I mean, that's destroying white culture.
Oh, no. I can't think of nobody offhand.
Because they ain't putting that. They still talking about love. They still talking about when I see you, I get emotional. When I see you, my breath takes. or there's love. I got feeling. They got positive energy. They're not feeding all this shit talking about if I sell 15, I bought it for 15, I got it for 15, why you paid 22? You know, or I smoked this, or I smoked you out with my Draco, and this, that, all this shit is the double destruction.
Yeah.
But this is all our kids are listening to.
So,
right?
So overall, basically, what it sounds like you're saying, we're being targeted. We're almost like
we're shooting ourselves in the foot.
It's safe to say we're hunting ourselves and tracking ourselves down,
basically.
Yeah.
And the reason being, and you said the exact same thing, right?
Yeah.
With today's social media, mainstream should not have the clutch hold on artists that artists put on themselves. With the internet, targeting overseas,
yeah,
numerous of plays you can do, but you don't want to put in the work, right?
Yeah.
So, you notice artists assign anything,
yeah,
just to get on. They ain't even reading the paperwork. And if they think I gotta say, nigga, I came through and kicked the door and shot up all your house and do whoop, then that's what everybody going with. Guess what? That's what you roll with. Yeah. But you gotta understand the energy you putting in the atmosphere.
Absolutely.
The frequency you putting on.
Yeah.
So when you throwing that out, what you think gonna come back? Goodness, greatness, love, affection, harmony?
Don't have it.
No. You're not creating that space.
No.
So you're exactly right, and that has been the problem since NWA. Don't get me wrong, NWA was a social conscious record. It was about the mistreatment, but it's like, well, shit, let's not stop here.
Right.
And that was like just a little piece of the music, that type of music, to that's all it is.
That's crazy how they came out. It was the first time I heard it. I promise you, Ru, I was thinking about earlier with Ice Cube. I was literally just thinking in my head, and it just popped out of nowhere when he was like, to a kid looking up to me, life ain't nothing but bitches and money. Because I'm the type of nigga that's built to love. And it's like, dang, where did this come from? Like, that is a, you know.
But that was the old Cube, right?
Yeah, right. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, man, look at how much respect those same artists get nowadays.
But he grew as a person. He had to.
And as he grew,
if he had stayed in that same space, yeah, Chris, there's no way he would be the man he is today.
No, heck no. No way. No way.
So he had to evolve. He had to get out that shit. You know what? All white people ain't here to try to stick me up, and all white people ain't, you know what I mean? I'm gonna judge you on what you gotta do. You got crackers out there, but you got some nice people out there too. And I'm gonna just do my business. You know what I mean? I'm gonna just be smart, and I'm gonna be educated, and I'm gonna be this and another. I'm gonna work harder, just like Will Smith. I'm gonna work harder than the next man.
Right.
You got what I mean? So we somebody said this, and I can't remember who. We'll turn the corner when we stop expecting other people to fix our issues as a race. Meaning, we can't expect a white senator. They can fix the effects, the prisons, you know what I mean, the other things around, but the internal struggle we got to do in raising our kids, teaching them about stocks, teaching them about credit, teaching them about finance, showing them that, hey, you know what, did you know this businessman got 3 or 4 Maseratis and got these trusts, and guess what, he ain't sold not one thing that's sold.
Mm-hmm.
Done this, but you got to see, what do they see? They see rappers, they see drug dealers with plenty of money, and they don't want to work for it, they want to quit. We want to quit.
Yeah.
You know? And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It's truly unfortunate, because we're losing damn near
Ain't no leadership.
for the
But that's
generation.
the thing, bro. There's no leadership out here. Remember, I mean, even when I was coming up as a kid, like you mentioned about the rappers before, I mean, you had like Public Enemy and you had KRS-One.
Right.
All of these other, they did a whole self-destruction tour.
Right.
A self-destruction tour, like for real, coast to coast. And so we don't have it right now. And in a way, in my personal opinion, I think we dropped the ball in that, you know, in that matter somewhere, like our generation, by not filling that gap or that void. I mean, even I never really cared personally about, you know, Jesse Jackson or whatever, but he was out there. Reverend Al Sharpton, he was out there until he got compromised. You get what I'm saying? But at least it was some kind of leadership guide, or at least present.
So you know the best way to destroy the enemy is from within. Right?
Yeah.
So we know we are quick to crucify other black people on a dime just off the word, right? Yeah. But it'd take an ass of shit for you to say the same thing about a white individual. And not making, like you said, not making a excuse for anybody, but you cannot ignore what they've done either. See, we have a tendency, and society has a tendency to look on the last bad thing you did, not the 100,000 great things you did, right? And those men that you mentioned, sure, they all have their faults. We are human. Everybody's going to have faults. There is nobody that is above approach, above sin, above making a mistake, or anything else. We have the ability in our community to make a difference. The thing is, we do it independently, right? So let's say, for example, this. Let's say if every black church in Augusta got together, right? Every congregation, every minister got together and say, you know what? We're going to eradicate these homeless people out here on the streets in the wintertime. If nothing else in the wintertime, we're going to eradicate that. We're going to create the shelters. We're going to put them in our churches. We're going to create volunteers to come in different times to do this. This church, you can help support us over in this area because we're about the gospel of the Lord, right? And helping those without. But it becomes inconvenience, right? It's not part of the agenda. I think that the black business, the black dollar, the black entrepreneur, young entrepreneur programs, young leader programs that we can commit to and get some young kids involved with to learn and teach them more than what they do, because their parents may not have the skill. How can my parent teach me about stocks when they never owned a stock in their life? Or about good credit when they've always struggled with credit their entire life? Yeah. Or not anything that's detrimental to them, they didn't know. They weren't taught. You know, there's a program, and oh my God, if you're able to get this guy, it would be awesome. I have no idea how you can reach him. John Hope Bryant. He runs the, what is this? Operation Hope. He's on the premise that we have to build civil rights, meaning our rights to finances, and to economics, and to credit, and to buying, and to real estate, and to buy back our communities. And that's how you change the game. You can't change the game if they control all the dollars, all the economic flow, and none of the money circulates back into your community for further development, reinvestment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, like, I was on this conference call with some black chambers yesterday, talking about this new stimulus package that was just dropped, $999 billion or whatever for this new PPP loans, and about people who are behind on their rent and stuff like that. A lot of different programs are included. But So this lady who is over the Black Chamber in Philadelphia, right? She has collaborated with a law firm and a couple other places up there. Her goal is try to get 5,000 applications completed and completed correctly to submit for small businesses in the Philadelphia area.
Gotcha. He's using the law firm to help to make sure that all the paperwork is squared away.
To help to do that and to be, you know, but also her and her people, because 5,000 is a lot of people to try to process before March. So, but what she said was that her goal was to get $1 billion of PPP money in Philadelphia with these 5,000 applications in the Black minority business community, right? So she put the challenge to other chambers, like, how many people you think you can do? It's 100, how many you could do, you know, and stuff, and everybody gave their disposition on what to do it. But a lot of times we get left out on the resources like this because of lack of knowledge, not properly completing the application. That's why she said a lot of people got turned down on the first one. They didn't have all the information, the resources, the documents together. So they were going to try to help compile the documents together to increase the success of people getting approved for the PPP loans and getting value money. And her pitch was to all the ones in Cali and everywhere that each group do the same thing because those dollars are needed in our community. Yeah. We can't simply sit here. Her point was that you mention it and don't do anything to get the money into your community. Meaning I go into a business thing and say, hey, you know, there's a program out, you guys need to do this PPP thing. There's trillion, you know, there's $900 billion out there, and you go to this link, but
bam.
There was no underwriting, there was no process of application, there was no walking me through. There was just like, hey, here's the information, go and run with it, you know, versus a systematic effort like with the voting to go after, target Black, contact these Black businesses, these minority businesses. Hey, did you get the PP loan? But that's time consuming.
Yeah, it is.
So you have to be, because the one application may take you 3 hours, you know, to compile the information. So she was like, a lot of the stuff they're getting done is from volunteers. A lot of it is people at home not working. They're doing it through Zoom, and then people providing people to process the applications and stuff like that. But she has this very strategic plan on how she's working to try to get $1 billion out of this money to come to her community. That's the kind of stuff we got to do.
Check out this this book. I forget the author's name, man. I've been telling everybody about it. My real estate mentor, Ebony Blunt, out there in North Carolina. Just want to say salute to her. Doing a lot of stuff also. Her son was murdered a couple of years ago.
Sorry to hear that.
But, yeah, she put me onto this book called Atomic Habits stuff. And it pretty much shows you how to increase your productivity by a minimum of 1%. So, you know how they say Rome wasn't built in a day, you know, so instead of you getting frustrated or feeling like you're bombarded with a whole bunch of duties and assignments to try to accomplish something, you just do it 1% or one piece at a time. And he started I like the way he even started the book out, and he gave this analogy about, say, if you were sitting in a room, it's room temperature, and you know, you're comfortable, and he said, I turned the thermostat down 1 degree. You might not notice much of a change, you know, off of that. Now, if I continue to turn the thermostat down 1 degree every hour, eventually you're gonna look around like, hey, you know, it's kind of chilly up in here. And that's the whole concept behind Atomic Habits, is to attack it, you know, one one bit or piece at a time where it's not overwhelming, so to speak.
Right.
I
Gotcha.
think that's something that could be done here, with the whole JuzTuz, organization.
Oh yeah, it's definitely gonna have to be done. That I haven't put unrealistic time goals. Like I'm gonna get this done in a month and a half. I'm not trying to put together some garbage
Yeah.
with a video or whatever. I want to really, I really want to try to build it to be a documentary with substance, to have some good stories, to have some great examples, to have some interviews from TAs, lawyers, police, the people who are affected by them, the family members who are affected by the decision that their loved ones made. But more than that, to show the lack of humanity. And when it comes to sentencing a black man versus a white person for the same crime. And I say that very strongly, lack of humanity, because what else could it be but racial discord? So the judge that sentenced my son, Danny Craig, there was a case where this white guy was accused of murder. He shot someone at Augusta nightclub downtown, a white nightclub. And he was arrested and out on a $5,000 bond for a murder charge. So he literally paid $500 to get out on bond for a murder charge.
Now, where they do that at? Good.
So every black person that goes down there with a murder charge, you're a menace to society, you're a flight risk. We're scared that you're going to do this, you're going to be committed to this. We want them to stay incarcerated into their trial. And that's it. They deny, bail denied, bond denied, bond denied, bond denied, bond. You know what I mean? And even the white people were upset because the person who killed, of course, was white. $500 on a murder bond? You'd say at least $25,000 or $50,000, which would have been $5,000, but $5,000, which was literally $500 to get out on a murder bond. But this is the same judge that gave my son an extenuating, over-the-top sentence. And not just him, but some of the other young men with him. He's been locked up since 16. Since being locked up, they claim he was all this violent and all this. He's never had a violent DR. And he's been locked up almost 10 years. He was 16 when he went in, so he was a kid. So, I'm just proud of him. And people like say, proud of him. Yeah, I'm proud of him for maintaining as a man and dealing with a situation that I don't know if I could have done.
That's a tough sentence.
Yeah, but when they changed the law, and I think it was during the Clinton administration, if I'm not mistaken, to prosecute minors as adults, it changed the game. So I would challenge anyone that has a story, come forward. This is not a judgment. This is not saying you raised your child wrong, because Lord knows I gave my son the best environment at home and the best training of my ability that I believe. But nobody can help your story. Nobody can help the situation. You don't talk about it. You don't tell somebody. And it's more powerful with 20 or 30 stories than one.